Hello, everybody listening to the Fairweather Podcast. Your boy 2K Suave. I'm here with Alex Rodriguez, and I'm also here with a special guest host from Townie Sports, Vic Rivera. How's everything going, my friends? My
Great.
friends.
Happy to be here, man. Thanks for the invite.
You know we had to bring you on. It's been a we were just waiting for that pin to drop, the dam to break. Mind you,
Yeah.
and Aaron Rodgers. He set it off for us, so we needed to get some excitement going this week.
Yeah, man. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Tatum's 50 piece, Kyrie's 50 piece. You know,
Don't leave out LeBron's 50 piece now. Come on,
LeBron's 50 piece. Just to drop a little stat here off the top. So there's only been 11 players in the NBA this season to drop 50 points, right? Only one player has done it twice, Jason Tatum. And only one team has two players that have dropped 50, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Here we go.
Whoop-de-doo. But hey, man, we'll give you a little limelight there for a little bit. Glad we can have you on. We wanted Sammy too, but Sammy got SEC championship tickets. He actually called me and was like, "Hey, you trying to slide?" I was like, "I got to record this podcast, man. I wish I could go, but this is my baby, man. I can't say no to it." Even though KK admitted he probably would have went. So
he didn't give me the call. So
hey,
and you live in like near Orlando or something, bro. You live out in the sticks, and you got like 12 kids, don't you?
Yeah, they keep coming out, man.
Exactly. So thank you for jumping on the show. We're glad we have you on so we can talk some sports with you. It's always great with you. But diving into things, we're going to talk about the QB carousel in the NFL. All it took was, like KK said, Aaron Rodgers to make his decision, and then everything started happening and moving there and then. We're going to discuss Calvin Ridley, since you guys like to talk about numbers and betting. So we'll talk about his punishment and the bets that he made that cost him the 2022 season. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to talk about the NFL Combine and draft and just looking at that. All this will be open dialogue, so we'll just have fun talking back and forth. And then for our fun segment, KK put me on the spot last week with a little game he likes to call Two Truths and a Lie. So he tested me on my teams. I'm going to do that with your teams. We'll do it with Boston Celtics, the New England Patriots, and the Boston Red Sox. So we'll have a little fun with that. See how you know your team, how well you know your team. So let's jump into things. QB carousel. We preach this and we talk about it all the time. It's always a carousel of quarterbacks in the league. And we've been waiting for somebody to finally step up and say, okay, this is where I'm going to go play. We've all been saying it. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers to be the first guy. Aaron Rodgers is also Karen Rodgers now. He's very dramatic in the way that he moves and holds himself. Do I want to go? Do I not want to go? I'm torn. I don't know how to feel about my life. And then he just says, you know what? I'm signing with Green Bay. And then we get to see Russell Wilson trade. Carson Wentz is being moved and so on and so on. So exactly. So spit it. KK, take it away first.
Well, first of all, I'm waiting. It's Tuesday that all that stuff happened. Was it Monday or Tuesday? God, I'm losing track of the days. Either way, I'm sitting there, just scrolling through, thinking about this whole Calvin Ridley situation. Like, man, that's some crazy stuff that's going on over there, and just thinking about NFL. And I had a feeling that because the Pat McAfee show is that day, I'm like, all right, it obviously has to happen today. I was kind of just waiting on when. I knew he would stay with Green Bay, but once we saw the terms and we saw, that he was close to Denver, close to retirement, which to me is just, aren't we just seeing Brett Favre over again? Like, isn't this just the same reoccurring thing where it's just, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? At least this time, Jordan Love is not Aaron Rodgers, because they were perfectly fine moving off of Brett Favre so that Aaron Rodgers to get on the field. Clearly, Jordan Love is not that guy. So, for them to offer him that much money, I was hearing things like he's going to break the bank and he's going to reset the quarterback market and everything like that. When I saw that was going to happen, I'm like, hey, there's no way he's turning down $50 million to go take on another challenge in Denver in a harder conference. Aaron Rodgers doesn't strike me as somebody who really wants to be challenged like that. And this is somebody who I've I appreciate his game. I love his game and everything. And I've spent the last 12 years like, man, he's a bad man, just like Stephen A and all that stuff. But his antics are starting to tick me off a little bit. And, and I'm not like, man, is he really that good? It's like, I know he's greatest regular season quarterback this side of Peyton Manning. But, man, it's like the postseason when the rubber needs to meet the road. I mean, since the Super Bowl, it's kind of been that. So I didn't think he would go leave this situation that he has where he's God in Green Bay to go follow up what Peyton Manning did about 10 years ago and deliver them a championship when he hasn't been able to deliver another championship to Green Bay over the last decade. So he made the right choice. It's an organization that he knows. It's a team that he knows. It's an easier division, easier conference now. Honestly, with Russ out of it, it's just everything for him is it's ready made for him to try to make it to another Super Bowl. But I mean, we're going to see what happens in the coming months as his carousel keeps spinning around.
Yeah, it's well said. I mean, nobody's going to turn down that money. But, the thing is, like, with these quarterbacks, right? So every time one becomes a free agent, next one's always the highest paid quarterback at the time. So, I mean, it's the NFL. Those are funny numbers, whatever. He gets the money. The thing I'm concerned about is what A-Rod was saying, how he's turned into Karen Rodgers and, his attitude, he's changed, right? He's not. Yeah. He just seems like sad. He's like the Russell Westbrook of the NFL, and lets everything get to him. I mean, he is a villain at this point. I don't know anybody that's rooting for Aaron Rodgers other than Green Bay fans. He can't chug a beer, right? You've already learned that. He lies about getting vaccinated for COVID or having COVID, whatever. But if you look at this free agent market and the quarterbacks available. ESPN has put out their top 100 free agents already, and the number one quarterback that they have listed is at 28, and it's Jameis Winston.
Isn't that so?
Yeah, and it really shrinks the quarterback market, right? So the only way to get a quarterback nowadays is via trade. You're not going to get your franchise guy from free agency. So Rodgers getting this deal not only affects the Green Bay Packers, but affects the Steelers, probably affected the Broncos, and pulling the trigger there. So many teams, there's a trickle effect that happened here. And finally he made the decision, thank God. But I'm curious to see what Pittsburgh's going to do now, because I feel like he was their number one option. Do they go with a stopgap like Jameis Winston? Do they go with Teddy Bridgewater, one of these free agent guys for a year, and maybe draft a quarterback late in the draft? And as we all know, and I'm sure we'll talk about later, not a real QB heavy draft yet.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Aaron just like strong argument in the market, just sitting there quietly playing this game. Everybody's just waiting because people want to know where you're going to fall. Where's your allegiance? Is it still with Green Bay? Are you ready to move on? And then all these different, I'm torn. I don't know what I want to do. And like you said, it's affecting a lot of teams, but teams that are smart, like the Broncos, have option B right in the pocket. Right when Aaron Rodgers signed, 2 or 3 hours later, that was old news, man. Russell Wilson blew the doors off everything. The Broncos said, yo, this is what we want. We want Russ. We'll give you all of this for it. And that shit was finalized and done in 3 hours. So, it's a massive trade package for the rebuilding Seahawks. It sucks because they've been a prestigious organization for, the last 10 years or so, slowly coming towards the end this year, but it was injury bitten. But it's the end of an era for Russell Wilson in Seattle, and it's bittersweet to see, because I always thought he was going to stay a Seahawk. I thought he was going to end his career there, but obviously they released Bobby Wagner too, and that tells you like, hey, we're ready to just rebuild at this point. Like there's no point. We're not going to get any better. Pete Carroll's probably got one more coaching season left in him, and then they're going to tell him, yo, we want to get a new head coach, a younger guy. Like you know what you're doing, but this ain't it. But like you said, what's Pittsburgh going to do next? Because they're another team that's like wanting to get a quarterback, and they're already like not linked to Deshaun Watson. They don't want to deal with that. If there's anything I know about Pittsburgh is like they don't really like PR nightmares, but they love PR nightmares at the same time. So I look at that like a just smoke and mirrors at this point. Deshaun Watson, if they tell him like he's acquitted of all charges, I guarantee you Pittsburgh will come knocking real quick and be like, "Yo, come on over." So,
well, to piggyback off of that, isn't it funny how Aaron Rodgers, that was a big story because that was a big domino that dropped, and then Russell Wilson completely stole the day from him. Like it was like in a matter of an hour and change, stole the complete energy from the room that Aaron Rodgers was feeling himself. I really found that funny because at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers, yeah, you're right. I think he is starting to become a villain. Whereas you have Russell Wilson who does it the right way. He's a cornball, but you can't hate Russell Wilson. Like he's a nice guy. He has a beautiful wife. He has a beautiful family. He's like heaven sent him down to save Sierra from Future. It was like a perfect situation. So he's somebody that you have to root for. And now he has a young offensive coach. He has all young offensive weapons that he's going to be able to help grow with. And this is not a situation like Tom Brady, where he's like 44 years old and you don't know how long you're going to have him for. Stafford's not really old, but you don't really know how long you're going to have Stafford for. He's still only 33 years old. He wants to play well into his 40s, he said. So this is somebody that the Broncos can finally they haven't really had a guy for a while. I mean, they had Peyton Manning for a little bit, Jake Plummer, but they haven't really had a guy since John Elway, if you want to, for a long period of time. So this is somebody they can have for like the next decade. And I mean, hey, I'm sure they're like, finally, we got somebody that we don't have, because they've had 11 quarterbacks since Peyton Manning won them that Super Bowl. It's like, damn, that's not the Bronco way of doing things. So I think this is really good for him. And then actually, speaking about Deshaun Watson, I was looking at the Seattle situation. I mean, they need to go. I think they should go big game hunting, and just see what the hell is going on with the Deshaun Watson situation. I think that's something. I mean, they have the number 9 pick now. I've seen mocks say they're gonna get Malik Willis and all that stuff. We'll get into the draft stuff in a little bit. But if I'm Seattle, you don't want to let down your fans too much. You let go of the last 2 players from your Super Bowl team. If one being one of the greatest linebackers in his era, and one being a future Hall of Fame quarterback. So you don't want to completely let them down and make this seem as if it's a complete rebuild. On top of the fact that the NFC, I mean, yes, the NFC West is tough, but the NFC in general is something that you can sneak into the playoffs. I mean, I talk shit about my Eagles, but we snuck into the playoffs at 9-8, and I don't think the Seahawks are that far away from us. So I think if they go big game hunting, they got what's his name now, Drew Lock as a bridge maybe, and then see if you can go get Deshaun Watson. Kind of just, I don't know what the situation is with his situation. I know he has this thing going on Friday, his legal case going on Friday, and I read that the Bucs are sending scouts to court. So I mean, this is such a weird thing, but if that's the case, Seattle should send scouts down there as well, because I think they should make a big swing and see if they can kind of just win back the locker room or win back their 12th man.
Yeah, I mean, saying you want to play till 40 is nice, but actually doing it is another thing. Russell Wilson isn't the biggest guy out there. I'd be surprised if he played till he was 40. And even this year, although it seemed like he was declining, he did have pretty reasonable stats compared to his normal stats. If you look over time, it wasn't his greatest season ever, but it wasn't his worst. So his worst was definitely 2016, 2017. And this year he ended with a QB rate of 103.1.
Which is amazing still.
Yeah, that's still around where he's been.
He had a broken middle finger and he rushed back from it. Yeah, I mean that
he did. Yeah,
you gotta give him credit for that.
Played 14 games this season. It was an interception percentage of 1.5, which is pretty good for him and among the league standard. So I think the Broncos, like you said, are getting somebody that they can definitely have for a long time. Now, on the other side of the trade, I know that the Seahawks did give up a lot in Russell Wilson, But if for a team looking to rebuild, I mean, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th, plus you get Noah Fant and Shelby Harris, Drew Lock, whatever he's a throw in. But those are some big pieces there that you can have for the future, especially when you already have Noah Fant. You have Noah Fant, you have DK Metcalf, Lockett. Let's see what happens with him. But you got those 3 guys. Literally, all you might need is a quarterback there on that offense. And maybe a running back, but running
back for sure. They definitely need a running back.
But you can find a running back. I mean, anywhere nowadays, right? I mean, people are signing people off the street. So
Leonard Fournette's looking for a home.
Yeah, hey, he had a good season last season too. So definitely options there for the Seahawks. This could be one of those rebuild on the fly kind of things where they do what the Patriots did: take a year, kind of suck for a little bit, and then come back in 2 years and they're right back in the playoffs. So I would be surprised if we saw the Seahawks back in the playoffs in 2 years.
Yeah, and I never addressed your Steelers point of view. Like what should they do? I mean, at this point, I was looking at. I already, because we're going to get to Carson Wentz now. I already had a feeling Carson Wentz was going to go somewhere. I mean, there was no way Jim Irsay was bringing him back into that locker room. I mean, you can't beat Jacksonville to get into the playoffs. I mean, terrible. I don't know what to tell you. So he's on his 3rd team in 3 years. I looked at him as someone that could either be like in Pittsburgh, Tampa, and he ended up with the Commanders. It's fun that I can finally call them something else. Like I've called them 3 different names in the last 5 years. So now they're the
so whack.
They sound like an XFL team. So.
Yeah, the Commanders.
So we got Commander Carson.
That's good.
I don't know what he's going to change life in Washington. I don't know how much better he is than Heineke or Fitzpatrick.
That's fair.
So, and then I've been hearing people say, well, he's never had a number 1 receiver. Yeah, but he just had the best first or second best running back in the league. And when Carson Wentz is at his best is when he has an amazing running game. Trust me, I know. He's on my team for a few years. And when we're running the ball effectively, that's when Carson Wentz is at his best. They have Antonio Gibson,
Terry McLaurin.
I'm looking at their running back situation.
Running back, yeah, Gibson,
McKissick.
He catches out of the backfield. I mean, they're decent, they're good, but Jonathan Taylor. I mean, hello, like if you couldn't win with Jonathan Taylor, I don't know what to tell you. So so at least he found a home with Pittsburgh. I think Jameis Winston would be a good home for him. I think Malik Willis would be a good home for them. But as far as, I mean, when you start to break it down, because we live around all these Bucs fans, the Bucs are running out of options. So it's like, who's the next big name that's available? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo?
I don't see the Bucs trading for a quarterback. I think they're going to end up signing like Terry Bridgewater or somebody like that in free agency. I think they realize that the ship has sailed. What's going on with Godwin? That's the one thing I want to know. Is Godwin going to be coming back?
Yeah. I mean, they tagged him. How long is he? What's his recovery time like? Do we know? Because he tore it week 15. That's what.
Yeah. November? I mean, what's his name? The guy, the Rams guy, tore his in the beginning of the season and ended up coming back for the playoffs. So.
That's a scientific.
Cam Akers.
I don't know what that is. That's a scientific marvel right there.
You gotta give it up to him, but I honestly think that the Bucs are screwed at this point. I mean, you can't. What are you gonna? You could sell up for Jameis Winston, not Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson if he is not a criminal, but
he's gonna get suspended.
Who else is out? I feel like and the crazy thing is that I just realized not too long ago that he wasn't suspended this season.
Yeah, he just sat out.
He just sat out. It's insane to me.
DNP coach decision.
Yeah, I mean that's what the hell. I mean, I get it, but I don't know.
Because remember when Antonio Brown came back, he got released by the Patriots and then was not allowed to. He was technically not allowed to sign anybody, but he was never really suspended. Then he came to the Bucs and was suspended the first. What was it, 6 or 8 weeks? So I think it's going to be the same situation. Although he didn't play last year, we have not ruled anything on you yet. So when you are ready to play and you want to suit up one day, we're going to give you 6, 8, 10 games for
Yeah.
kind of detrimental. We'll see what it is. But I mean, yeah, I mean, with Deshaun, I don't. It's like it's such a because that's the next big name. Obviously, Garoppolo. I don't know what you're gonna get from him. And then people talking about Mitchell Trubisky. Trubisky's gonna. I heard Trubisky's gonna be a giant, and he's gonna compete with Daniel Jones for that starting job. And it makes sense because they brought over, they brought over Buffalo to be their GM and coach over in New York. So it only makes sense that they bring over their quarterback with them because they can't bring Josh Allen. So that would be a good competition for Daniel Jones he'll probably lose that competition. And it makes me happy because now my quarterback competition in my division is Daniel Jones, Mitchell Trubisky, and Carson Wentz. So fantastic. But the next big name out there is going to be Deshaun and Jimmy. And Pittsburgh obviously looking for somebody. Tampa's obviously looking for somebody they're probably going to strike out. Who else is looking right now?
And those are the three big names, right? I mean, A-Rod, what do you think? I mean, who do you think is out there for Tampa Pittsburgh, Tampa, those are the two big ones, right?
Yeah.
New York, I feel like they can go another year with Daniel Jones or Mitch Trubisky, whoever. But I don't know.
Don't count out New Orleans either. New Orleans needs a quarterback too.
Yeah.
Oh, they are definitely looking for a quarterback. I think Jameis stays there then.
Yeah, they'd be stupid not to re-sign Jameis. As much as that team you can keep intact, and Jameis was looking good when he was rolling with all his oars in the water there in New Orleans. And I think he's matured enough. I think that franchise has said, hey, we accept you here. The team likes him. If they can convince Michael Thomas to stay, which I hear they're in talks to give him an extension to keep him and keep that team together, he'll be set. He'll have a good receiver as long as Michael Thomas. I mean, it's been since 3 years we have seen Michael Thomas play, but if he can pick it up and play like he did, that'll be a good receiver. They've got fast weapons around them, and I mean a really good O-line, and you got Kamara.
Here's a name. Marcus Mariota.
I'm about to say Marcus Mariota is available too. I feel like
the Bucks drafted Jameis over him, and they're kicking they're like, let's see if we can go get Marcus. He was our other option as well. You think they would go do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to ultimately draft one of these guys in the second round, maybe. Maybe the guy out of Cincinnati,
Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, Ridder. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of good top end talent here in quarterback, but I mean, you might get lucky. I would just play the lottery with whoever's available in the second round to grab that guy.
So we automatically just think that Kyle Trask is not the answer.
I was going to say, yeah, they got to be.
Oh yeah, Kyle Trask could be. Yeah.
That's a waste of a draft pick then in my case. That's where I look at teams and I'm like, you're shitty drafting because you just took a guy who was obviously a Heisman candidate and you got him as a steal in the second round. Mm-hmm. And you've got everybody in Tampa Bay's dick hard because he's from Florida. He's a Florida boy. So, you could throw him in the mix. I mean, obviously I think Blaine Gabbert will win the starting job if they keep Blaine Gabbert, but I think Kyle Trask will quickly leapfrog him throughout the season if shows.
If you can't beat out Blaine Gabbert in training camp, then you're not it.
You're not it at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I think Blaine Gabbert wins the job in the beginning because there's politics in football, man. They don't want to throw kids to the wolves. They'd rather, Blaine Gabbert sink and then get everybody hyped for the Kyle Trask era and throw him in there like that. That's how I would see the Bucks doing it, as opposed to drafting Jameis Winston first overall and then throwing him to the wolves immediately to give him 5 offensive coordinators while he's there. So I think the Bucks, they're definitely in the market. I think they're like, oh shit, what do we do? Do we run the Trask era or do we go get Deshaun Watson? What are we going to do? But the Bucks are definitely the time is ticking out for them. I honestly think the Steelers are content where they're at. And I think they'll get Malik Willis, right?
I don't think he's gonna drop to 20. I think
he will.
He was he was the darling of the ball this weekend with the combine, and I think there's a team that's going to try to lead. I don't think there's a top 15 quarterback in this draft, but there's a team that's going to jump into the top 15 to go get him. I mean, it's just we see it every year. Quarterbacks will get taken early. It is what it is, and you got to look. Carolina needs a quarterback. Seattle's needs a quarterback. Like, there's a lot of teams that are willing to go draft a quarterback. And if you like the kid, I mean, Atlanta. What if Atlanta trades Matt Ryan? I mean, that could be on the table.
You said it won't happen though. Come on, don't take the scenarios out of my
just
mouth.
saying. But what if they do? What if they do trade him? I mean, like,
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked.
I'd be shocked too. But what if they do? At the end of the day, they need to eventually have a quarterback in waiting, right? So even if they can't trade him, they need to get a quarterback. So like they're sitting there at 8, and there might be a team that's scared. They might draft Malik Willis. Let's jump over him to go get him, right? So I think it's a possibility that Malik Willis might not even make it to 20. So if Pittsburgh really wants him, I'm not very sure that he's going to be there at 20. It's just the way they talk about Malik Willis is the same way they talk about Josh Allen. It's just his big arm, and he's so raw.
There's also teams that don't know how to draft too, and I guarantee you Carolina will be like, "Ooh, we really like Matt Corral. He fits the mold that we want over here," and they'll take him over Malik Willis, and Malik Willis will drop. But it also doesn't expect me that somebody like a Seattle who likes a mobile quarterback will go in there and be like, "Yeah, we're gonna go get this guy." So,
and like Malik Willis it's not like, I mean, he's good, but he's not a day one starter in my opinion. And
not at all.
None of these guys are, to be honest with you. I'm sure somebody will talk themselves into it, but I just don't see it happening.
What about
for them to be able to go?
What about this scenario? Because I don't think it's being talked about enough, and I don't want to talk about it, but I feel like it's happening, and we're trying to force ourselves not to believe it. But I've been seeing it for weeks and months actually, and I've been hearing about it for a couple of years. Tom Brady wants to play for the 49ers. People think that's like the best kept secret. That's not really a secret. That's where he wanted to go after New England. They kept that mother effer was Jimmy Garoppolo over him. And now he's like, I still want to go back there anyway. That's where I want to finish off my career. I think if he comes back because there's nothing that indicated that he retired from the NFL. I think he retired. He left the Bucks. That letter was 10 slides long saying bye to the Bucks. It wasn't saying I'm done with football. I'm done with this. Like, I don't think anything has changed. I think Giselle was like, oh, look, I want to go back to California anyway. Like, I don't think she wants to be in Tampa. Like, Tampa's just overpopulated now. It's like too many people here. I don't think she wants to be here. So I have this weird thing that's like, well, Tom Brady is going to be like, all right, I want to go to San Francisco. And he can't just go there. He has to get traded there or released by the Bucks. So
I thought he signed a 2-year deal. I thought he was a free agent.
He's not a free agent. He has a year left on his deal.
Oh, wow.
Because he signed an extension last year to help him with the cap.
Oh.
And it was like one of those 2 years, like he did with you guys. He signed like an extension so that he can kind of be released or whatever. But so what do you think is a better chance of happening? Tom Brady's the day one starter for the 49ers, or Jimmy Garoppolo is, and not Trey Lance.
Oh, absolutely. I think Jimmy Garoppolo. I've heard these, I hear the talking heads on ESPN talk about it all the time that Tom Brady, wants to play, and I don't think it's a chance of happening.
Who they just hired from Monday Night Football, right? To be their offensive coordinator.
For Monday Night Football? Who?
Brian Griese.
Oh, really?
Brian Griese has a direct link to Tom Brady.
Does he? I didn't know that. I know Brian Hoyer does.
Brian Griese has a direct link because they played together at the University of Michigan.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that was kind of who started over Tom Brady, and then Tom Brady took the spot. Like, they were back and forth. Long story short, they go back 25 years. And for me, them bringing Brian Griese out of nowhere to be the offensive coordinator in San Francisco, I mean, literally out of nowhere to be their offensive coordinator, something that made me feel like something's brewing.
But then what do? You keep Trey Lance, you trade Garoppolo, or do you trade?
he has no. They brought him to be the quarterback's coach, not the offensive coordinator, but he has no coaching experience whatsoever. Looking at his career history, this would be his first coaching job. He retired from the Bucs in 2008, did TV, did Monday Night Football, and then out of the blue, the San Francisco 49ers bring him in as a quarterback's coach. There's something to that to me.
I mean, I think you're a little bit too conspiracy theory there, KK. I think it's just a thing. I think it just happens.
I think it's a conspiracy theory, but I also think it's Tom Brady, and Tom Brady does whatever Tom Brady wants to do. That at the end of the day.
Like, I mean, that'd be so lame. That would be so lame. The greatest quarterback of all time, played for 3 different teams in his career. It's just lame.
I mean, I agree.
This is
too, but
Michael Jordan played for the Washington Wizards. Like,
right, that's going to be the Tampa Bay Bucks.
These things. He didn't. He was terrible with Washington. At least
actually, he wasn't. He was. People think he was. He was.
He averaged 20
like 25 points a game.
He averaged 20 points a game.
25.
His first year. His second year was only 20.
Now I'm gonna look it up.
Look it up. No, I mean, the team was bad. Okay, they didn't make the playoffs.
The team was bad.
He was also the GM too. So he was firing and hiring guys at the same time.
Yeah, he was.
So.
He was.
Isn't
it funny how no one got mad at him for being the GM and playing basketball, but God forbid LeBron wants to play with his friends and LeBron's the worst GM in the world. I'm like, bro, he's still a player. Like, he still have Pelinka there, but I'm jumping ship. But
the whole Tom Brady conspiracy thing, I could see it though. Like, he's been pretty freaking quiet right now, and if there's anything that I'm scared about is like you said, like that goodbye letter was literally goodbye to the Bucs. I'm not coming back to Tampa Bay.
10 slides long. Goodbye to the Bucs.
Exactly. You know, and then he said, "Oh yeah, goodbye to the Patriots too." But like at the end of the day, he'll retire a Patriot. But we all know that he wanted to go to San Francisco. He's from the San Francisco area. The Brian Greasy thing is very, very creepy. I agree with you there.
Super creepy.
When I saw that, I was like, this guy has never coached a day in his life. And then when it clicked, I was like, oh, he did go to Michigan and he did play with Tom Brady.
Somebody probably heard him on Monday Night Football and was like, oh, there's some great points.
There's no damn way, because everyone was listening to the Manning cast.
he's a QB coach. I mean, it's not like there's
something there.
John Lynch knows what he's doing over there. He's putting together a team of players that are just like so, and they're becoming big name players now. Like, they're playing well. He's getting the right personnel in there, and it's working. It is working. And I'm telling you, if Tom Brady calls him and is like, so you're going to keep that mother effer, or you're going to keep me? What are you going to do? They'll tell Trey Lance, you're going to sit another 2 years, and they're going to get Tom, and Jimmy G's walking, man. They're sending him somewhere.
They'll probably trade him to Tampa so they can go get Tom Brady.
That'll probably be a deal.
I was like, look, here's Jimmy Gag, and here's a couple picks. We're getting Tom Brady off of you. You're not going to tell Tom Brady no. Like, what are you going to tell the GOAT no? Like, no, he's going to be on his merry way. But I think it's one of those things where it's to me, I would say it's a 30% chance that he returns. So I'm still thinking that he stays retired, but that 30% is up from 5%. So
yeah,
I know it's a weird scenario, and I think we don't want to believe it. We don't want to see it. I think we're more clouded by that. So we don't want to see this shit. But crazier things have happened.
I mean, last year he had a career high in yards thrown. The second most touchdowns he's thrown in a year. His lowest or his highest, except for the Moss years, yards per attempt, were his 2 years in Tampa. I mean, for a guy
still has a lot left.
That's the scary thing, is that he has a lot left, and 102.1 quarterback rating or quarterback rate. Pretty impressive for a 40-something-year-old. Finished second in MVP voting, third in Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, I think he could jump in and chop it up with San Francisco? Yeah, but I don't think San Francisco has the same offensive talent that Tampa Bay has. And honestly, I don't think they have the same defensive talent either.
I saw Jimmy Garoppolo take him to a Super Bowl 2 years ago and then turn around and had they had a better quarterback, they would have beaten the Rams and made it back to the Super Bowl. So
that's true.
How we look. We always talk about teams that are a quarterback away. Literally, they are a quarterback away. That's how bad Jimmy Garoppolo is, but that's how good that team still is. Like, they figured it out with Jimmy Garoppolo, and obviously he's not really that guy. And on top of that, now here's the flip side though. Does Tom Brady want to see Aaron Donald twice a year?
I don't want to see Aaron Donald twice a year.
I don't know if I want to see that twice a year.
Especially at 40 years old, 44 years old.
Yeah, he had to see the Saints twice a year too, and they had it out for him like shark through the water with blood, man.
They had some bounties out on him, that's for sure.
They sure did. They sure did.
That's a good one. But so, who would you think is the next guy to go? Who's going to be the next domino to drop in the QB carousel? Is it going to be a trade, or do you think it's going to be somebody signs, free agent wise?
I think it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be. I don't think we're getting any more trades. I think we're staying pat, barring Tom Brady.
Watson's going to be traded, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to go on with the suspension. I feel like if he does get coming off the heels of Calvin Ridley getting a year for putting a $1,500 bet on DraftKings while he was at home injured or at home, trying to make his mental health better. I don't see him getting anything less than a year, even if he's not convicted. Now, if he's convicted, obviously that's not happening. But I don't know. I'd be surprised if he comes back and plays for a different team this year.
Yeah, we'll have to find out Friday on that, how that's going to pan out. Get some more story on that. I just think it's going to be free agent here and there signings, nothing big. I say Mitchell Trubisky is the next guy to sign because it's like he's holding up a sign basically saying, come get me. Like, I'm here, I'm waiting.
I'm confident he's going to the Giants. You can book that right now. I'm confident he'll end up with the Giants.
I'm pretty confident too.
If I had to guess, Deshaun Watson will be the biggest name that's moved in the next month. I wouldn't say in the next weeks. I would say in the next months. He might be like a draft night deal or something like that. But I feel like in the next coming weeks, because like this, we know legal situations take time. So this is where we're at. I'd say he's the next big name. I think Jameis stays in New Orleans. I think Mariota is going to end up somewhere else now. Outside of that, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater at this point is not a big name anymore.
I feel like Mariota would be really, really good in Seattle. I feel like
I was actually thinking that too. He'll be good for that community because he has like he played in Oregon as well, which is actually that Seattle and Portland in Oregon have like a good relationship. So actually, that's actually a good one. I gotta write that down. That's a good one.
I think that would be a good move for him. But all right, let's go to the next topic. Vic pretty much stole the words out of my mouth speaking about Calvin Ridley making a bet of $1,500 while working on mental health at home, away from the team, thus getting caught by the league. The Falcons said in good faith that they were fishing offers for him, but turned him down because there was legal practice going on against this to see how it was going to pan out. So they weren't going to trade him knowing that this was pending around him, but gets slapped with, what is it, a 1-year ban for the 2022 season.
It's indefinite, but it's going to start with 1 year actually. So It could be longer.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah. I mean, the guy made a $1,500 bet on DraftKings or whatever it was. Was it FanDuel? I don't know.
I think it was FanDuel. Or the Hard Rock app, or one of those two.
Regardless, it was stupid. The whole thing's stupid. It was stupid by him to do it, right? Especially that way, because now it's not he was trying to hide it. Literally on DraftKings or whatever it was, and it's stupid that he's been suspended for a year by the league. I mean, I understand it's in the rules, but I mean, there's got to be some kind of. I mean, Roger Goodell is just the worst, man. And with these handing out these suspensions, there's guys that like beat women and they get back in 4 games.
I was just gonna say that. Look at what is it?
Greg Hardy's
Greg Hardy, Kareem Hunt. I mean, all these guys, man. Like just Antonio Brown. He only got like 4 games for
And his is a lot more egregious than a $1,500 bet on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Like that's ridiculous. I mean, you beat who's the guy that that pushed that girl down on camera? Was it
Ray Rice?
No, it wasn't Ray Rice. Ray Rice was the elevator.
Was it
Kareem
Hunt?
Was it Kareem Hunt that did that? I thought it was somebody else. Yeah, Kareem Hunt. They pushed the girl down. Like even Joe Mixon. You got Joe Mixon, who like right before he got drafted, punched the girl in the bar, knocked her out, and he was. I don't even think he was suspended. He was even drafted. So I mean, so many things that Big Ben with his allegations of rape were never suspended. Was never suspended, and
he got I think it was an 8-game suspension that got reduced to 4 or something like that.
Okay, so even worse. I mean, Tom Brady,
something along those lines.
Tom Brady didn't deflate footballs and got 4 games. So
think about it. Oh my God. Let me take it from here. Because let's start with Calvin Ridley's side of it. What he did was idiotic.
It's stupid.
It was dumb. Okay. Like when I dissected it, like the day it happened and then the day after, I got 2 completely different mindsets toward it. So day 1 that I found out that it happened, I was like, shame on the NFL for coming down hard on him like that. And then everything you just said, people that beat up women and rape women and, all the other stuff that people do. Stephen Ross is, paying people to throw games, like, which is far more egregious than a $1,500 bet. All of that. And they come down and give it an indefinite suspension starting with the year with the 25-year-old wide receiver. So that day 1, that was my feeling. Day 2, I was like, after further review, what Calvin really did was stupid. I've been hearing all these former players and current players say, when you walk into the locker room, it's like in bold letters all over the place. Don't gamble, don't gamble, don't gamble on football, don't gamble on football. So I understand that what he did was wrong. I do believe that the punishment was egregious because compared to the crime, when we talk about, it's like, what's worse, insider trading or murder? Like murder is obviously a worse capital offense than insider trading. But, so like you shouldn't give the same sentence that you're going to give. You shouldn't give a more sentence for insider trading than somebody who's committed murder or committed rape or committed one of these crazier acts. But I do understand about the opening of Pandora's box. Like, if they only gave Calvin Ridley 8 games, then there's going to be somebody else that bets $1,500, and there's going to be somebody else that bets $1,500 because they're going to be in the back of their heads like, well, it's only 8 games. I missed half a season. I missed half a season of game checks. I think they sent a very loud message because clearly he's not the first. It's always like, are you sorry that you did it, or are you sorry that you got caught? He got caught. That's all it was. He's not the first person in an NBA to gamble on NBA games or NFL to gamble on NFL games. And so he's not the first, and he's not going to be the last because people do it through their friends or do it through a bookie or whatever. He just so happened to do it the right way and got caught. So I think, should they have come down that hard? I don't believe so, but I understand why. Because they're trying to stop this from ever happening again.
And these are special circumstances, right? So like it's not like number one, he wasn't playing in any of these games, right? He was at home, away from the team.
Right? He didn't pick up to lose or anything. He picked up to win.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't Pete Rose here. This is a special circumstance where I think Roger Goodell or somebody, like some kind of governing body, would step in and say, well, let me look at the facts in this case compared to other cases. This isn't that big of a deal. Let's give him 8 games. Let's give him 4 games. You know what I mean? And for the Atlanta Falcons to say out of good faith they didn't trade him because, I mean, that's a load of shit. Of course they didn't trade him. If they would have traded him, they would have never made another trade in the history of the Atlanta Falcons. Somebody would have traded with their asset. That reminds me of Danny Ainge trading Isaiah Thomas to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Kyrie Irving. Nobody ever traded with his ass after that either. So it's just the way it goes. It sucks for Calvin Ridley, and I think, is it non-appealable? I don't know if they can appeal it or not.
No, it's appealable. I don't think he will appeal though, because he has 3 days to appeal after the suspension, and I haven't heard any, like, typically when somebody gets suspended within 12 hours, they've already appealed.
Automatic appeal, because they can continue to play while the appeal is going on. There just must be overwhelmed. I mean, I think the thing is, I don't know that you can appeal it because he obviously did it.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
He didn't lie about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you have to appeal the rule way. I don't know. It's just the reality that I don't want to get into right now, but it's bullshit. I feel bad for Calvin Ridley. I'm sure he'll be back next season. I can't imagine they suspend him for longer than this season.
Do you think the NFL or just the NFL? Do you think they're just way harder on players than they are on managers and coaches and stuff like that?
I think the NFL sucks for this reason. The way they deal suspensions is just stupid, and I mean, I get it. So with the NBA and MLB, usually it's the commissioners that handle suspensions, but I feel like the NFL needs a committee or something like that, because the way that Roger Goodell does things is it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, the punishments never fit the crime for the most part, right? And in terms of punishing management or even the owners, that's almost non-existent.
Yeah.
So
the reason why I asked is because look at everything that's going on with the Washington Commanders. Like they have a dark cloud hanging over them. And then a story that no one's even talking about is the Dallas Cowboys. Like they had like peep shows for like the cheerleaders and stuff, and they had to pay them off to like kind of like shut up basically. They paid them like $2 million, whatever it was, like a hefty amount.
Like $5 million.
Yeah, like they paid them a hefty amount, and no one's talking about the story. And Goodell's not doing anything to Jerry Jones or any of their management. And like they have, I mean, same thing with the Commanders. They have like documents that, I mean, think about it. With the Commanders, all that came out of the whole situation was John Gruden losing his job. Clearly, it was bigger than John Gruden. But what they did, sacrificial lamb, let it go, let it die out, and let it go away. Now it's happening again with Dallas. Like that's a big deal. Like they were having like old men walk into the room and watch these cheerleaders like change and be naked and stuff like that. Like that to me is way worse than a 25-year-old kid who's taking a break away from football, gambling on a fantasy football app on a parlay bet. Like,
and I think the Gruden thing was bullshit too. Like, I don't think he deserved to get canned for that. But I mean, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine Roger Goodell standing up to Donald Sterling like David Stern did. If that kind of thing came out, you think he'd force him to sell a team? Now, granted, it's not like Donald Sterling was the most liked owner in the NBA. You know, if it's Mark Cuban that's caught on video doing that, you think Stern does it? I don't know, but I'm just saying at least he had the balls to actually stand up to an owner, whereas I don't think Goodell would ever stand up to one of the owners.
Because the owners own Goodell, that's why. Like,
right. I mean, well, technically, right? He serves at the pleasure of the owners. So he doesn't really have, and all these commissioners do, but that office doesn't have the same anonymity that the NBA commissioner's office has. You know, where I feel like Adam Silver is actually more pro player than he is pro owner, which is surprising. But I mean, it might be just because Adam Silver is so good at what he does. I mean,
because he understands the players are the one that bringing all the money. Like you could be an awful commissioner, or I mean, not commissioner, an awful owner of a team, but if it like what's his name in Cleveland, but you had LeBron James, and LeBron James brought billions of dollars into the city of Cleveland. Like that's more concession workers, that's more people coming to the games, that's more cleaning people. Like that's a lot more jobs off of one player, no matter how bad the owner is. So that's why you got to be a pro player in that aspect.
And that's so true, because in the NFL, right, like people don't really, you follow the team. People don't really follow the players. There's no Kobe fans, in the NFL. Although I love Tom Brady, when Tom Brady was playing the Pats, I was rooting for the Pats, of course. Right. And that's probably the closest person that we would come to like a LeBron or a Kobe type that would have a fan base like that. I don't think there's players in the NFL because I've been saying this for years, because they wear the helmets, right? You can't see their faces. But for the most part, people don't know what they look like. They're just anonymous.
Yeah, you look at the shield.
Riddle me this: when Robert Kraft got busted with all like the rub and tug shit that he was doing, did any like suspension or penalty come down for him?
No.
I think they had to pay pay a fine or something like that. I I mean, we lost more because of Deflategate, which again was false and proven to be false by statements made.
He's a salty fan, so that's what we have.
That's
dude. When you go back and look, the Deflategate shit, that was a load of crap. Like that whole situation was a load of crap. When you go back and look at it, because I've heard quarterbacks say it themselves. They all deflate footballs. All of them.
Right.
But it goes back to what we preach, though. Like if you can get away with it, go ahead with it. But he didn't get away with it.
But somebody had to go down for it.
Let's not go down the Deflategate. All I'm trying to
know. But it goes with the topic where like the owners get away with, but they came down hard on Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady, the player, the greatest player that they've had in that position, they came down hard on him. Meanwhile, you got Kraft doing this stuff. You got all these guys doing sexual allegations up top.
Irsay is like driving drunk and getting hammered all the time.
Yeah.
So you see how you don't hear nothing. They do what they do, nothing happens. God forbid the GOAT wants to play his footballs and they come down to him and try to suspend him. Like suspended? Like that's just a load of crap. It's a load of crap.
Terrible.
Like the biggest one that's out there is what's the owner of the Redskins or the Commanders now, whatever they are.
Snyder.
Yeah. He's got all these allegations pending him. He hands over the team to his wife, so he's not handling operations when we know damn well he's in there every day talking somehow to some kind of line of communication.
Right.
And it makes no sense that you can get away with murder, but this guy bets on one game and he gets a ban for an entire season. And then I'm disappointed on him. I'm disappointed, Calvin, really only for the fact that you want to take this entire year to work on your mental health, bro. Like as a big mental health advocate, someone that goes and sees a therapist, like I amend that. That's a big step for you to do.
Yeah.
But like this is where I get frustrated with players because I think players are just prima donnas that they just think, oh, I'm just gonna bet on this game and I'm gonna get away with it and do what I want. Bro, put yourself in the right corner with the right people. If you're going to seek mental health, I guarantee you your therapist is helping you understand yourself better, helping you understand the people that are in your corner that are making you feel a certain way. And like, I just, it's hard for me to see a guy like that who has everything going for him, who could possibly be a top 5 receiver in the league. Once some of these other guys get out, he could possibly be that. But then you go and do something stupid and boneheaded like this, just like you said, all over the locker room. That's plastered. Don't bet on sports. Don't do this. Make sure you use our car services to pick you up so you don't drive drunk and do a Henry Ruggs. No offense to Henry Ruggs. Like all of these different things. And this is where I get frustrated with the players. Like I said, they're just prima donnas out there doing whatever they want to do and think that law doesn't apply to them. Well, you're not the owners. The law doesn't apply to the owners because we see it time in and time out. They can do whatever they want. Jerry Jones can go in the locker room and look at girls take their skirts off, not get fined. We'll hear about it for a couple of days. He pays them off for good. Snyder does what he does. We keep hearing about it, but it slowly, goes down in the dark, tall grass again. Irsay does what he does. It's ridiculous. So be more cognizant of like your surroundings. Be more cognizant of what you're doing in life. If you're working on mental health, bro, go see your therapist. They're paying for that. Do that 2 or 3 times a week. And be low key, train, do what you want, but come on, don't bet on sports. I know you love the game, you do, but go teach some high school kids like some stuff. Go do some drills with some friends. Go on vacation, do something, clear your head of shit. But to bet on sports is just the goofiest thing I've ever heard in my life of a player do. Like Pete Rose has got to be the ultimate idiot at that right there. You're a manager, coach, player, and then you start betting on your team to lose and win games. Like,
yeah, but I mean that guy, he had a gambling problem. So this is a little different. I mean, Pete Rose is paying big money. I mean, it's almost strange. We've all been in Calvin Ridley's shoes. Well, I know, at least I have. They're sitting there bored, watching on Sunday, like, okay, let's spice things up a bit. Let me throw some money on something.
Yeah.
I bet on Filipino basketball one time and won 50.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that bet on
not because I was drunk, just because I felt like I could win money here. And I did. And I did.
Yeah,
but I'm
so
also
that's the thing. It's like,
athlete.
he's probably, but I mean, he obviously wasn't trying to win money here, right? He was just trying to, put some rooting interest in the games, I guess. Because if he was trying to win money, he wouldn't have bet $1,500. I'll tell you that much. But
$1,500 cost him $11 million salary this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not much else we can say about it other than he screwed up, and the punishment's bullshit.
Yeah.
Both can be true.
In conclusion, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that sucks.
It's funny as we're talking about this. I got a message on my phone from talk about gambling on something like, oh, put $5 is like from the sleeper app. Oh,
Facebook's
$5,
listening.
$5 giveaway with this squad.
Oh,
Come on.
Jesus.
Come on.
Turn your microphone off, KK. They're listening.
Seriously.
I had a guy call me about voting for gambling in Florida last week, and man, that was the longest conversation I had. But
You
I
answered the
went to
phone?
the very end. Huh?
You answered the phone?
I
Yeah.
answered, yeah, and I sat there and yeah, old me would have been that way. New me, I walk a different path. I let the guy talk to me, and then finally, I was like, hey man, how many more questions do you got? Because I'm really close to hanging up. He was like, we only got 3 more. I was like,
You're
okay,
a better man than me. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
not
I wouldn't have even gotten to the
anybody.
conversation.
I'm
The phone
slow.
would-
I'm slow to anger, man. I'm slow to anger now.
If you want to talk to me, you got to leave a message first. I
Seriously,
don't
I need to.
phone.
Yeah, exactly. Please leave
Nah.
me a voicemail and then follow up with a text as well.
I'm usually that way too, but like I said, slow to anger nowadays. All right, let's pivot now to combine and draft. So we just had the NFL combine. A lot of players shine, a lot of position players shine, and then we got the draft in a couple weeks. So what did you guys take away from the combine? What was your favorite day? What was your favorite positions? Anything, drop it. All open dialogue.
It's the fastest draft ever.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they had 8 receivers running sub 4.40. Hella fast. What did that D lineman run? Like a 4.48 or something?
4.82 or
Yeah.
He ran
yeah.
faster. He
No,
ran faster than Patrick Mahomes.
It was a 4.78.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane. I mean, that's
6'6", 341 pounds.
yeah, Jordan Davis, right? The guy.
Could you imagine that coming after you? You're running for your life, and this big truck is just bearing down on you.
So I know, dude, that's scary shit. But he's so in terms of risers and fallers, the biggest climber that Tom McShay had was Jordan Davis.
Yeah, for sure.
So that defensive tackle from Georgia. So that was probably the highlight of the draft. A few running backs that stood out. The guy from Iowa State,
Brees Hall,
who ran a 4.39.
Yeah,
I mean, for a running back, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Brees Hall.
So he's 5 foot. It's not he's small. He's like 5'11". So it's a big guy.
217 pounds.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm just like, this draft is going to be so boring because there's really, other than the receivers in the first round, there's really no other standouts for me.
You don't like the tackles and defensive line?
Yeah, but I don't get out of my bed for defensive tackles. You know what I mean? I'm not like, when Myles Garrett got drafted, I was like, oh, awesome, Myles Garrett. When what's his name? When the Watt brothers went, I was like, oh shit, TJ Watt, no way. Oh yeah, get me my TJ Watt draft jersey. This is amazing. Quarterbacks is so weak. Even the quarterbacks that are supposed to go in the first round, other than Willis, I never really saw play. The other two, Corral and Pickett, I watched play and are just, they're boring. It's Kirk Cousins like. So I could care less. Other than the wide receivers, I'm not too excited about this. There's not really any good running backs going in the first round. I was looking at McShay's mock draft before the show because I know
I didn't like your mock draft.
Yeah, well, I was looking at him and Kuipers, and it's funny because the only place that they agree is Malik Willis at 20 to the Steelers. So they obviously have a good feeling that they're going to end up walking away with him. But I kind of agree with you, KK, when you say I don't know if it gets that far. So maybe they have to trade up for him. But no running backs, no quarterbacks really taking in the first round other than those two. It's going to be, what was that one draft where it was like all offensive tackles and guards and D linemen? Was it the Chris Long draft? I forget. It was a long time ago, but it was boring.
I think it was 2013, something like that. I know what you're talking about.
But I got nothing for this draft. The person I'm most excited for, to be honest with you, is Jameson Williams. And the only reason I am is I want to see if the Pats will end up getting the balls to take him, because I'd love to have him. And if Chris Olave falls to the Pats and they don't take him, I'm gonna freak out.
What number pick do the Pats have?
The Pats have the I believe it's the
20th pick.
Is it
20th pick? I'm
20th
looking at it
pick?
Right
Yeah.
now.
He's not making it past the
21st.
Eagles.
21st.
21st.
He's not making it past the Eagles. We have we have a 15, an 18, and a 19. He's not making it past us. I can promise you that.
That's where the mocks have him. The mocks have him actually going to the Eagles. So
Yeah, listen, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited that we didn't get Russell Wilson because we would have given up all these picks to go get him. Now we can actually build like I want to. I could use another pass rusher. I could use a linebacker, and I could use somebody to complement Devontae Smith. If we have those three things going for us in the first round, I think next year, dealing with Carson Wentz twice a year and dealing with Daniel Jones and Mitchell Trubisky twice a year, we get like 3 or 4 wins right there. And then I think we can finally start to split with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to start falling apart just a little bit.
Mhm.
I think we'll be in the thick of things as far as being an Eagles fan. I did like the speed. They said this is the fastest draft ever. It was the average 40-yard time this year was 4.71, which is the fastest of all time. I mean, we see defensive linemen running like sub
O-line,
3 to
man.
4.7
O-line.
now.
Jesus.
These
O-line
O-line guys are super athletic now. It's gonna be this is gonna be a very athletic draft. What I was disappointed about was Kayvon Thibodeau because I feel like he had all this hype coming in, and to me, Kayvon Thibodeau is gonna be like another Jadeveon Clowney. That's kind of what I'm seeing right now. All the potential and skill in the world, but he's never gonna really amount to what he should, I think, because his motor doesn't run as high like a Aiden Hutchinson run. And I don't know. There's so many all these Georgia defensive players. To me, I'd probably take right now over Kayvon Thibodeau because at the end of the day, you want a football guy, and we just saw it with Josh Rosen. Everyone knew Josh Rosen loved football, and that's why he fell, and that's why he's basically not in the league anymore. So,
yeah. How did the Eagles get Miami's first rounder? Refresh my memory.
Last year, we had the 6th overall pick. We traded down to 12 and with Miami. So Miami moved up to 6. They traded that whatever for San Francisco. Anyway, we got Miami's pick last year when we traded from 6 to 12. And then we jumped right in front of the Giants to go get Devontae Smith. And the Giants wanted Devontae Smith, which was hilarious. So yeah, that's how we did it. So yeah, we have 3 fantastic picks. I wish the Dolphins would have sucked more last year. The Colts, we got rid of we literally highway robbery with the Colts because obviously we knew Carson Wentz is not the guy, okay? And now he's on his 3rd team in 3 years, and we got their first round pick for it. So it's a beautiful, lovely experience dealing with the Indianapolis Colts right now.
Yeah, from my perspective on the combine, I just realized like everybody's super athletic now. Like O linemen are fast as shit.
Yeah.
D linemen like Jordan Davis, I was amazed watching that. Even his long jump was insane. I mean, but I can't stand the combine. I just think it's like how fast are you? Like I'd rather see playing real time. Like that's all.
Can
cool
you play football?
Yeah, but that's what I want to see. Yeah, you can bench press, 315 100 times. That's cool, but like, can you block a guy and not tear your ACL every time? Like that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Jets got the 4th and the 10th pick. I mean, I would be happy with Kayvon Thibodeau if he slid to us. I don't think he will, but I was watching that kid from North Carolina State that you were saying. The
offensive lineman.
I'd be happy.
I told you, super freak.
I would be happy with him, and if somehow we can get Ajabo from Michigan, I'd be okay with both of those picks.
That's who I want.
I would love him, man. That guy, they were saying he's like him and Jordan Davis are the best kept secrets in this draft. Like teams are going to look at the other guys above them, but like if you can get these guys, like you're going to be set. You're going to be fine. I made my mock draft already, so I'm just waiting for you to send me yours and I'll post it. But
I was waiting for all the quarterback stuff to kind of die down. So
I'm gonna have to redo it.
I can make a more informed mock draft.
I'm gonna have to redo it now that Seattle has a pick in the first round. So I'll have to redo that. But it's going to be the way I look at it, it's going to be a very O-line, D-line, wide receiver, and then some DB sprinkled in there kind of draft with maybe a mix of a linebacker or quarterback in there. But it just shows that a lot of players are beat to the knees in these positions, and they want to just get these type of guys in now. So a lot of these teams been riding those waves of a lot of those guys and gonna go and get younger ones to put right behind them. So
and Vic, you got to understand. I know they're not sexy picks, but these are the picks that win you Super Bowls. When you have a generational talent at tackle or guard, or like think about it, the Rams were able to hold on to a 40-year-old Whitworth, and he protected that side, and then had Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and the rest of those guys chasing after the quarterback. As an Eagles fan, I didn't have the luxury of having Tom Brady for 20 years. So I don't know how it feels to feel like how you feel. But as an Eagles fan, the one Super Bowl that we did win, we had the best O-line and the best D-line in the NFL that year. And so for me, that to me is the secret sauce of winning is have a top 5 O-line, have a top 5 D-line, and then your quarterback can't suck. And to me, you have a chance.
I guess that. But in terms of entertainment value, this ain't it.
I feel you. I mean, Jordan Davis is pretty entertaining. You got guys named Sauce Gardner, and
that's true.
Kenny Pickett has small hands.
He has those Burger King value meal hands. Can't even hold a Whopper with him. Who's your biggest sleeper in this draft? If you had to say though,
sleeper. It's gonna be one of these receivers because there's a lot of receivers, and there's that one that no one's obviously paying attention to. People talk about Drake London a lot. I don't really know.
Who's going to be the Jalen Reagor of this draft?
Before I get to the Jalen Reagor of the draft, I think Jameson Williams. I know he's not really a sleeper, but obviously he just suffered an injury.
He's going to fall. I think
he's going to fall, and he's going to fall to the right team. And that team that picks him is going to be licking their chops. And I have a weird feeling he's going to fall to like the Bills or something like that. And it's going to be like the Bills don't really need him. But then in the second half of the season where he comes back and healthy.
I got Vegas.
What pick does Vegas have?
Vegas has 22. Buffalo has 25.
Yeah, I think he might just fall down to 25. And then someone's like, thank you. So it's going to be one of those teams that don't really already need him, like the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs need defense, but shit, if Jameson Williams is on there, hey, why not add some more speed for Mahomes or something like that?
My pick for a sleeper, if I had to pick one, now I had to confirm because I haven't heard anything about him yet, which is interesting. Mechie declared for this draft, right?
He is.
John Mechie
talks about him.
John Mechie's my sleeper pick. He's a great wide receiver from Alabama. He can catch the ball. He's fast as shit. I like myself some Mechie. I like any kind of if I ever had a chance to choose an Alabama wide receiver, there's no doubt in my mind I'm taking him. No matter what pick I am.
Yep. You get them. As long as they're not gambling on games.
Exactly, right?
You get them. The mock that I'm looking at has him going in the second round, like in the top of the second round.
Yeah. He's a first round talent.
First round talent, but I think their problem with him is that he's not as explosive as Jameson Williams. Like he was the better route runner of the two, but Jameson Williams was like super explosion. Like every time he touched the ball, it's like, holy shit, that guy's fast. So
no, he is fast. And you know what they say, speed always translates in the NFL. But I'll take the better route runner any day of the week.
I agree.
Speed.
I have Devontae Smith. I know.
Yeah, I mean, well, look at the league right now, the way it is, right? It's got these guys that are bigger, of course, better, like DK Metcalf. But then there's a lot of these smaller guys that kind of run throw, that are just running these routes and getting loose. Cooper Kupp, he's very fast as well, but
he was only a 4.6. He was only a 4.65 40 compared to these 4.3s and 4.2 guys.
But he creates separation other ways, which is
why? Did they say he had the best cone drill of that draft? It's the cone drill that we need to be paying attention to. We're so fascinated by guys running 4.2, Whereas the cone drill is the most important thing because it shows how quickly you can get out of it, get out of cuts. So to me, I gotta pay attention to these guys' cone drills. All right, that's who I would want. So yeah.
If I had to pick my sleeper in this draft, I mean, I would say Ajabo, but he's gonna go top 10. But anybody who said that this Georgia team was like the best defensive team in all of football, and you got no guys going like on these mock drafts that I see like in the top 15 until we saw Jordan Davis go. Like I say all of those guys.
I see Walker going in the top 10 now.
I saw him at the very end of drafts, barely making it into the first round.
You might be looking at an old mock draft because the new ones that I've been seeing, they got Walker going in the top 12, top 50, top 10 now.
Trayvon Walker's one, Dean, the linebacker, and who's the other one I was looking at? That's really good too. Doesn't come to mind. Also, the defensive end from Florida State's really good too.
Oh yeah, they've been talking about him.
Jermaine Johnson, like he's an animal, man. I think the Eagles get him. That'd be a good fit.
You're talking about Wyatt, A-Rod with Georgia?
Yeah, Wyatt.
Yeah, Devontae Wyatt.
Yeah, he's really good too. So like, I just don't get why they're not shooting up the board after you just had like this historical season and you beat Bama. Usually, isn't that like the mold? Like if Bama does really good one year and their defense is good, you just pick players from the tree. Regardless, you pick players from the tree. And if the team is really good and they beat Bama, like Clemson did that year, like didn't everybody except Farrell? What I don't know why
they took Farrell fourth overall,
third overall, or whatever it was. Yeah, like everybody on that tree did very, very well in defense in the NFL. So I would just
offense.
Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, Hunter Renfrow, the guy that got the game-winning pass on a little in and out route. I still remember that. I was like, "Damn, that guy's good."
And Deshaun ain't bad either.
Deshaun ain't bad either. Deshaun has bad tendencies, but he's not a bad football player.
No.
All right, let's go ahead and let's wrap up the show. Let's go to our fun segment now. KK put in the spot last week.
Sure did.
Truth and a lie. We're gonna tell you, or I'm gonna tell you because I have the questions in front of me.
Sure.
2 of them are true. 1 of them is a lie. You have to guess which one is the lie. Okay.
All right.
So we're gonna start off with your.
I don't even know the answers to these either, by the way. So
I got the answer. All right. So we're gonna start off with your Boston Celtics. All right. Question 1. Bill Russell was selected 2nd overall by the Celtics in the 1956 draft. 2, the Celtics have 23 retired numbers. And the last one, the franchise has played in 3 different arenas.
Which one is the lie?
So I think it's the 3 different arenas, right? Because it was the Garden, and then it was the TD Garden. That's the one I think is. But then Bill Russell 2nd overall. But did he go the same year as Wilt? I'm gonna go the arenas.
Can I guess my lie?
Go ahead.
I think the lie is 23 jerseys.
Dude, they have a lot of retired.
That's a lot of that's a lot of jersey numbers. 23.
They have a lot.
What number is 95, 93? Like
33, 5.
They can't have more than 12.
6.
They can't have more than 10 or 12.
That's true. 23 is a lot.
You're both wrong. Bill Russell was drafted 2nd overall by the St. Louis Hawks, then traded to the Boston
Celtics. Oh, come on.
They have 23 retired jerseys?
You gotta listen. They have 23 retired jerseys, and they played in 3 different arenas.
I knew the 23 was right. I knew it because, dude, if you look at the Raptors, it's full of jerseys.
Jeez. You can't wear any numbers up there.
No.
All right, let's go to the Patriots now. First question. Were once known as the Boston Patriots.
That's true.
Their fight song is I'm Shipping Up to Boston.
Oh, I have no idea. I know.
Adam Vinatieri is the all-time leading scorer of the New England Patriots.
Oh, that's a lie because it's Gostowski.
You want to guess one, KK?
I mean, I'm going to go with what he just said. He sounded very confident about that. So
he's right. Gostkowski by like think it's like 300 points or something like
Yeah.
that.
Is Vinatieri second?
Vinatieri is second.
Wow. That's
Go,
Uh,
Kickers, man.
Let's go Red Sox now. Were once known as the Americans. Anointed David Ortiz a team captain. Is in the top 3 most valuable MLB franchises.
This is a tough one. I know Tech was made the team captain, but I don't know if they gave him the title of team captain. I'm gonna go with, what was the third one again?
They are in the top 3 most valuable MLB franchises.
Shit, I don't know if they're top 3 either. Definitely the Yankees number 1. It'd be Dodgers number 2.
Yeah, it would have to be Dodge number 2.
Shit. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna say Poppy wasn't named team captain. I feel like everybody knew he was the team captain, but he never wore that C like Tech did. So I'm gonna go Poppy captain.
About you, KK?
Honestly, I have no idea.
I'm not too sure about this one.
Boston Americans, was that a thing?
I just assume it was.
That has to be. It's like
stupid,
it was like
1900 bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say all right, Yankees 1, Dodgers 2. Are the Red Sox 3 for sure? The Giants? No.
I know there was the Boston Braves, but I think they moved to Atlanta and became the Atlanta Braves. So
I'll go with the valuable. No, I can't do that. That's impossible. They have to be top 3. I'll go with. I don't know. I'll just go with Poppy and just see what happens.
Always following. That's correct. Poppy was never given the captain nod.
Yes.
Veritek was the last one. The Red Sox are the 3rd most valuable MLB franchise, and yes, they were known as the Americans way back in
1800.
What were the Yankees known as? I did that for you.
Highlanders.
Yeah, the New York Highlanders and the Boston Americans. What a rivalry that was.
It's just 1800s, man. Woohoo!
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
We all wouldn't be in the stadium.
Let's go, Americans.
All right, so that wraps up the show. Vic, the floor is yours. Plug yourself. Hype up the podcast. Hype up your family. Hype up Sammy. Whatever you want to do, it's all on you right now.
Yeah, nah, Sammy's turned into the KK of this whole squad now. He's the one that keeps dodging us. Ever since KK came on, it's like, all right, now I guess I'm good. No, but I'm on Townie Sports with my buddy Sammy. We usually try and now I think we're going bi-weekly on Tuesdays from now on, every other week. We're Townie underscore sports on Instagram, on YouTube, Townie Sports. You can search just Townie Sports on YouTube. We have our own YouTube page now. We are no longer with House of Fandom, so if you're subscribed there, great, stay subscribed, but also hop over to our page and get subscribed as well. I think that's it. I don't know the TikTok, but we do have a TikTok, and you can get to our TikTok from our Instagram. Sammy's much better at this kind of stuff than I am. I'm just usually the guy that shows up and gets some stats, but happy to be on with you guys as always. I know we always like to do home and home, so we'll try and get you guys on hopefully in these next few weeks, definitely for March Madness, which I wish we got to talk about today, because it's become my favorite time of year. What I like to do with Sammy is not watch any college basketball.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
I don't watch any college basketball throughout the entire year, right? Because I've been known to hate college basketball before doing my podcast. And then Sammy last year got me into it, made me start watching it, March Madness especially. And I was like, this is awesome. So especially during COVID, right? Because nobody was in the office. So what I would do is I'd have the games on my Xbox while I'm working. So you're watching a game basically from like 12 to 6 at night. And it was just amazing. Love March Madness, love college basketball. Excited to see what Gonzaga can do this year. Let me ask you, who's your guys' top pick in this year's NBA draft? You guys got both like that Jabari Smith guy?
I was gonna say Jabari Smith because this whole Chet Holmgren thing, man, his frame scares the bejesus out of me. Like that is a skinny dude, and
yeah.
he's not. He's has a little bit of athleticism to him, but I don't know. Like KD, as great as he is, he's battled injuries his whole career.
Yeah.
Right? And it's hard for me to see a guy that small of a frame like Kristaps Porzingis.
I was gonna say he's Porzingis-y to me.
Exactly, way too Porzingis-y for me. And I think Jabari Smith will be a great number 1 pick. I like what's his name, Panchero, whatever from Duke.
Oh, Panchero, yeah.
Those would be like the two that I would take before Holmgren. There's probably some guys in the G League I'll probably take before Holmgren. There's probably an international guy I'll probably take over Holmgren.
Yeah. You know what's crazy too, and I hate to keep us on, but I have to I have to say this.
You're good.
Isn't it interesting how the last 3 or last two I know for sure MVPs in the NBA have both been international players, and now this year the top 3 MVP candidates are all international players.
Yeah,
it's just something I love to see. You know, the game's going international.
What else? They're all bigs too.
Yeah, they're all bigs. Yeah.
Me and A-Rod had an episode that we talked about, is the big man dead or is the big man coming back?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that, right? The big man is back, and they're back in full force. Like they are here. Like every night I watch Embiid, obviously, and I'm like, he's the best big man for sure. And then I go look at Jokic. Like, golly.
This man is doing. Jokic is doing God's work. I mean, this guy. Some of his passes are like, what the fuck? Really, pass he made like behind his back, like behind his head.
It does not make sense how good Jokic is. Like, it really, honestly, I can't. Like, I watch Embiid. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Hakeem Olajuwon. I watch Giannis. I'm like, oh, that's like a combination of like LeBron and
Shaq.
Yeah, just a dominant force, right? I watch Jokic. I'm like, I've never seen this before. Like they want to compare him to Sabonis. I'm like, that's not Sabonis.
No, that's, you know who that is. That's a taller, bigger Magic Johnson. That's what I think.
That's scary. I thought LeBron was a stronger, bigger Magic Johnson.
He is.
Yeah. This is something else I've never seen before.
I mean, he doesn't have the same speed or athleticism as those guys, but in terms of his passing ability and his vision, I mean, like you said, we've never seen anything like this in the NBA.
Yeah, his vision. That's the thing. His vision is.
You said it best on the show, Vic, like a couple weeks ago. What we were promised for Porzingis is what we got out of Jokic, and I love watching, man. Exactly, and then some. Yeah. I was talking KK last week, like we got to give that man his flowers, because like we hear, all these other names for MVP, and this guy's just putting up crazy numbers without anybody on his team, and now he's going to get Murray and he's going to get Porter Jr. back, and
it's a scary team.
That's a scary team. No matter where they are in the playoffs, they're going to be scary. And Mike Malone, I think Mike Malone is a very, very good coach, man. He comes.
I mean, if you have Jokic, you're golden. But
it makes you look really good.
Yeah, and to be honest, I love what the playing tournament's doing. You got a lot more jockeying this time of the year, as opposed to just putting stuff on cruise control and seeing who's going to go for the 18th. But now, I mean, it's going to make the playoffs even more interesting. I mean, you have Brooklyn in the 10th seed right now. Possibly could end up playing the 1 seed. So you got the guys at the top kind of jockeying for position, so they don't have to play.
I do not want to play Brooklyn in the first round.
Imagine a Brooklyn Heat first round series.
That'll be dynastic.
Or
that'll be beautiful.
The dream matchup is Philly Brooklyn round 1.
I can't have that. I'm not. Give me a cake. Give me a Charlotte. Give me one of these little cakewalks. Don't give me Brooklyn in the first round. That's too much to ask for.
Oh man, what a great season it's been. I'm
for sure
excited for the playoffs, man. It's been amazing.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
We got to get another bracket challenge.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I gotta start paying it. I really start to lock in on college football like in end of January, early February, around the Super, like during playoff time and NFL and around that Super Bowl time. That's when I really start to lock in on college basketball. So I'm starting to see some things. I'm ready to make that pick.
I'm just picking Gonzaga all the way this time. Timmy Gimme.
They'll never win. They'll never win.
I'll let you down, man. He told it to me last year. But yeah, we appreciate you coming on. Like I said before, and all, we enjoy having you and Sammy on. Love being on your show back and forth. Like you said, home team. It's always great. But you can find us on Twitter at fair_weather_pod, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Just search the Fair Weather Podcast. And wherever you subscribe to podcasts, you can hear the audio there as well. Rest in peace, Notorious B.I.G. Today's the anniversary of his death. KK Fly Eagles Fly.
Real quick, Grant Allman of the Athletic, also formerly of the Tampa Bay Times. We got into a little Twitter spat yesterday, so I invited him to the show. I invited him to the show. We'll see if he comes on, but we're gonna see. But Greg, if you're listening, it was all love, man. Ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't nothing but a thing.
I'm looking up that fight right now.
Yeah, follow me on SLB2K11 on Twitter. Follow A-Rod as well. But Greg, what's up, man?
This man got Twitter fingers all the time, man. I be catching it all the time.
He got me. He got me though. It was like a three or four little comments or whatever. But he got me. He was right. I completely misread the situation. But yeah, we got to a little thing yesterday. But we're good. I slid in the DMs and stuff, so we're good.
That's the way to do it, man. You're not gonna get anybody to come on the show unless you slide in the DMs, right? I keep telling Sammy, just who cares? Just go for it.
Oh yeah, I slid the hell in the DMs, sent the podcast page and everything. I'm like, hey, bro, I like this little back and forth we had. No hard feelings.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, that's all I got though. Peace.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. Cheers. Go Celtics.